All right, so this is 17 for most strongly supported. And so they're asking us what this editorialist has to say. So when legislators discover that some public service is not being adequately provided, their most common response is to boost the funding for that public service. So I guess, if we don't have adequate daycare, the common response is to boost funding for public daycare. Because of this, the least efficiently run government bureaucracies are the ones that most commonly receive an increase in funds. So they're saying that, we're putting cash stimulus into like these services that are not adequately provided. And so they're saying, therefore, that, we don't have officially run government bureaucracies. The least efficient ones are the ones that commonly get these increases. So we're trying to see what would support or what these statements support in the answer choices. So A, the least efficiently run government bureaucracies are the bureaucracies that legislators most commonly discover to be failing to provide some public service adequately. And that makes a lot of sense. So they're basically saying, if you are failing to provide some public service, then you're going to get increases in funds, meaning that if you're least efficiently run and you're not providing service adequately, you don't get the funds. That makes a lot of sense. Let's look at B. When legislators discover that a public service is not being adequately provided, they never respond to the problem by reducing the funding of the government bureaucracy providing that service. We don't know if that's necessarily the case. They don't talk about reducing funding. And they don't, never is a strong word. We don't know if they never respond by reducing the funding. Who knows? C, throughout the time a government bureaucracy is run inefficiently, legislators repeatedly boost the funding for the public service that this bureaucracy provides. So, throughout the time that they're run inefficiently, not sure if we have enough information to say that. Repeatedly, we don't know if this is over and over and over again. Although it would make sense, we make an assumption that bureaucracy is slow and cyclic. So we want to make sure we don't fall into any traps with making our own assumptions. I would also say maybe it's not necessarily just the legislators who boost. Like, the legislators are the ones that discover the public services, but the common response, we don't know if that's like the public response. We don't know if that's legislators and the response. Maybe the legislators only respond once, and maybe the public responds after that. There's a lot of different things in here that makes C incorrect. We just don't have enough information. D, if legislators boost funding for a public service, the government bureaucracy providing that service will commonly become less efficient as a result. We know this is like a reversal of what's actually happening. Basically, the services are already inefficient. They're already, not adequate. And so we know our legislators are boosting the funding because there's not adequate services being provided, not the other way around. And we don't know that it's going to actually become less efficient as a result because odds are it's already inefficient. E, the most inefficiently run government bureaucracy receives the most funding of any government bureaucracy. So this is a really compelling answer choice, but we don't have anything about the most inefficiently or the most funding. We don't talk about it. We just say, okay, the least efficiently run government bureaucracies get the increase in funds. And they don't even say most, they just say an increase. So A, we would go with A because they're saying the least efficiently run government bureaucracies, that's, that's supported. They're the ones that where legislators discover they're failing to provide public services. They're failing to provide public services, they boost their funding. So this makes a lot of sense. This one, wraps everything together nicely. So we would pick A.